never seen this Warrior system with anybody but Steph in that role. I think they would still be excellent. I mean, you talk about having KD, Dame Lillard, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green as your core. I would think that should still be a contender. But to the point of what we're talking about here, I think that you have to replace Curry with a better player to project a similar level team than if you replace KD with a.
In other words,
you can't replace Steph. This is why I asked a basketball expert like Dre to tell me, because I can't listen to Jay.
But there are different ways of measuring value, Jay. They're different. Like what Andre Snellings is saying. It seems to me, correct me if I'm wrong, Dre, is that you need a closer version to Steph in order to get similar results. You need a farther away version of KD to get similar results. That argues for Steph. But on the other hand, Dre, it still doesn't answer the argument I think Jay started to make that I agree with. The bottom line is, when you put KD on a super team, you crush everything in sight. No one has a chance. When you put Steph on a similar kind of team, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. The other team needs to get hurt. I mean, like, that's what we've seen.
Okay, I hear you now. Max doing the Max thing, Dre. Max is bringing you back to the other argument. Let's stay our asses on this thing right here.
Oh, that's what we're arguing, though.
No, but you're bringing it back to Katie. We just asked if you could replace Stephen Curry with Trae Young and Dame.
But Dre, you tell me if I'm wrong. Your point is that you need a closer approximation of Steph to achieve the same results than you need of KD, correct?
Because of the system and what they do at Golden State.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, if like Dame Lillard and Trae Young are all NBA players, and they play similarly, at least in a macro sense. They're both excellent shooters. They can control the offense enough because Dre is really the point guard on that team. So, yeah, they should be able to approximate, if you put them next to Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, they should still have an excellent team.
So, Dre, give me the equivalent of Andrew Wiggins of the Steph Currys, or Jay. Give me, because I'm saying if you have,
I'm not the one I didn't come up with this conversation.
But I'm saying if you have, well, this is what Andre Snellings is talking
asking me. I don't believe this conversation.
But my contention is this: if you have a healthy Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, Andre Iguodala, I'm saying you can have a much lesser version of Steph and still win.
Why are you always throwing Andre Iguodala into this?
Because back then Iguodala was nice.
Yo, this dude is Dre. Hold on, one thing, Dre.
Nice.
Dre, let me say one thing. Dame is an incredible player. Dope. Same with Trae.
He is.
Like, I think Dame and Trae, there are different levels to it. I think Dame is on a different level than Trae. I think Trae's on his way. The fact that we're trying to say you can accomplish the same, there still be a contender. I understand that. We are talking about the only unanimous MVP in the history of basketball. We are talking about the greatest shooter in the history of basketball.
You don't need to hit a 500-foot home run. You can hit a 400-foot home run.
The amount of space that he allows players to operate off is drastically different than Trae Young, who does it very differently.
You tell me.
Dame and Trae do it very differently in the state.
Wait, Trae Young, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green. That's not going to win a championship?
I don't know.
Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson.
But it has to operate very differently. I still think it can win you championships.
Okay.
I don't think it has to operate very differently because
I was actually asking him the question.
Jay, none of us here are Miss Cleo. I mean, we're not going to be able to say this team would definitely win and this team would definitely not. But if you tell me you starting with that Warriors team and you replace Steph with Dame Lillard, I'm going to say they're still going to be contenders. And I actually have taken a crack at that question you asked, what is Andrew Wiggins level point guard? The closest I'm coming up with is maybe Darius Garland this year. And I don't even know if that's great because he showed flashes of really having that game. But he's a first-time All-Star. His offensive impact was a lot lower than the Dame Lillards and Trae Young of the world.
But wait a second. I hear what everybody's – all I'm saying is the reason why this team even exists the way it's built is because of Steph.
Well, it's
because of Steph.
True. That's the reason that Trae plays the way he does.
You would never even get to this point. So now I see.
Though. He said the reason.
I'm more yelling at Max, not Dre.
Oh no, okay.
This is more about.
I agree with that, Jay. If you're yelling at me, I agree that Steph, in his imagination and ability, invented all of this.
Only reason why
but now it's here.
Only reason why I even asked Dre The question is so we could balance the Kevin Durant conversation and not argue. That's all. I wanted to balance it.
Malcolm Brogdon, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Draymond Green would incinerate everything in sight. Incinerate. As soon as you put KD and Klay on a team with a point guard who can do some stuff and Dre, it's over. Let alone Steph, of course. But Steph is hitting a 500-foot home run. You put Brogdon in, it's still clear the fences, but it's 350.
Sure we don't overlook Draymond Green's importance to this team. Like, we keep adding him as like an add-on, like and Trae. Like, the argument can be made before Kevin Durant got there that Draymond was dang near as important as Steph to what they did because he was the best defensive player in the NBA and he was playing point guard on the offense.
And he's a pick-and-roll partner.
And he was a pick-and-roll partner. And part of what KD did when he got there was he kind of slid back Draymond's offensive importance. And you know, that comes to the argument of, like, the size of the pie. It's like what Kevin Durant did when he got to the Warriors, it wasn't that he made their pie bigger. He didn't make their offense, you know, much better than it was, their defense much better than it was. What he did was he took the huge pie they already had and cut it different so that he was the one getting a larger section of the scoring and maybe Steph's was a little smaller, Dre's was a little smaller, you know, Klay's was a little smaller. That's different than other players in that top 10 to 15 argument because almost all of them, when they go to a team, they make the pie bigger. We've never seen Kevin Durant do that, and that's part of, you know, that first question you asked, why he might need to show that he can do it outside of Golden State for people to really recognize it.
Yes or no? Will Kevin Durant ever win another NBA title? Yes or no, real quick?
I would say no, because I don't believe in Brooklyn, but Max knows we've been having that argument for the last few years.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.